silence. Going.
I was talking to Nerida, the REA economist, and she was saying that the climate is such that auctioneers are having to work even harder for their money. Is that fair?
I definitely think it's coming down a little bit more now of the skill of the auctioneer, because the skill of an auctioneer is not calling an auction with 8 registered bidders and it rolling past the reserve and it sells and everyone's happy. The skill of an auctioneer is working with 1 or maybe 2 bidders, having to negotiate with them, and really trying to draw out that extra last dollar, and also sometimes delivering a message to the seller doesn't want to hear.
Yep.
And getting them to understand that it is in their best interest to let the property go.
One of the toughest things I'm imagining for an auctioneer is when you roll up and there's 1 bidder. Yeah, I mean, what how does that all play out?
Harder than that is no bidders.
No bidders.
Yeah. So if there's no registered bidders, we'll usually make a call out just prior to the auction starting, remind people they've got to be registered. If you get to that situation where there's no registered bidders, usually the decision is made how you run the auction in consultation with the seller. So the 3 options they've got is that you don't call it.
Yeah.
You simply make an announcement saying, look, there's no registered bidders today. There's post-auction interest. We're not going to call the auction. Go straight to that. You can open up the auction full well knowing that no one's going to bid, not place a vendor bid, or you can place a vendor bid to give everyone a ballpark of where the seller might be looking. So really the key strategy, the decision that they need to make is, do they want a price release to the market at that point? Or do you not want a price released because you want to hold that back to start to negotiate with parties? And usually it's done with a thought of who is here ready to watch the property get passed in and then negotiate straight away. If you've got someone there that's ready to negotiate, you're always better keeping the price to yourself, letting them step first, and then you can start to negotiate. Because if you place a vendor bid, you go too high, you scare them away, you go too low and they pull back their offer.
If there's 1 bidder, do things change?
Yeah, it does. You really come in a more intimate negotiation, and it's a public negotiation. So what we'll usually do is come to the registered bidder. We'll give them the heads up that they are the only registered bidder, because they're going to work it out pretty quickly anyway when no one else is putting up their hand. So it allows us to control the conversation and say, look, Steve, you're the only registered bidder today. There's parties here that are hoping the property gets passed in, but for the next 10 or 15 minutes, it's just you. So what my suggestion you do would be is, if you can start us off with an opening bid, doesn't matter what figure you like, what that allows us to do is to pause the auction, take you aside privately, let you know where you've got to get to buy the property today, and you can make a decision from there. So you put them at ease, understanding of, okay, well, I'm actually in a really good spot, and all I'm going to do with an opening bid is earn the right to hopefully hear where the seller's going to sell the property to me at, and then I can make a decision, and then it becomes more like a negotiation.
What are the key dynamics to have a winning partnership between auctioneer and agent?
Trust is probably a big one. As in all relationships in any facet of life, I think trust is ultra important. But I guess an acknowledgement of, this is what my role is and this is what your role is.
Yeah.
We as the auctioneer see ourselves as the last 3%. So the agent's the 97%, we're the 3% on the day. That can make that extra little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
But if the lead up work hasn't been done prior to that point, we're powerless on the day. So the agent's responsibility is to give as much information to the auctioneer as they can. So when the auctioneer gets up in front of the crowd or gets to negotiation space, they're armed with that information that's going to help them do their job more effectively.
What are the biggest errors, mistakes that rookie auctioneers make?
The number one mistake that I think auctioneers make, and this is a holistic thing, is that it's pretty easy to get to a mediocre level and stop. Auctioneering is inherently an individual thing. On a Saturday, you'll go call your auctions, you won't see anybody else. Every once in a while, someone will come and tell you that you caught a really good auction, so you'll think you're great, and that's where your learning stops. And I reckon that's the biggest mistake that a lot of auctioneers make, is they get to that mediocre to good level and just stop because they don't have any outside influences that are telling them, hey, you need to do this to go forward.
So one of the buzzwords in any industry is feedback. So can you talk me through what good feedback looks like following either a successful auction or a disappointing auction?
We ban the word feedback, firstly. So
so it's not a buzzword in your world.
We call it information, because I think our role is to give the seller an informed decision to make. That's our fundamental role. They're going to decide whether they sell a property or not. Our job is to give them an informed decision to make. The one thing that we see that really good agents do is they create offers before the auction to give the seller genuine information prior to the day, plus commit the buyers. And statistics that we had from 2017 show that if you got offers prior on your auctions, you had an inherently higher chance of selling them on the day rather than not. So I think the good agents have really great language in creating offers prior with the buyers. to get them in a situation where the owner understands where they're sitting prior to auction day.
You moved from being an agent at Ray White into obviously an auctioneer, and you've got your own business now. There's clearly hundreds or thousands of agents out there who want to follow the same pattern as yourself or the same journey as yourself. What advice would you give them?
Do your time as an agent first.
Yep.
Because it'll give you a fundamental understanding of a lot of things that go along with an auction campaign. The myth is that the auctioneer is the entertainer at the front. Realistically, the auctioneer is just the conduit between the negotiation. So, and we work with agents closely, so you need to understand how agents think, because agents are a little bit different in the way that they're wired and the way they operate. So make sure you do that, but just never stop learning, I should say. Source people out, ask questions, watch people, take notes, and make sure you keep learning all the way along. Real estate's not a short game, it's a long game. So you've got to keep doing the actions before you get the reward, because the reward will come, but if you stop doing the actions, the reward will stop down the line.